distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome our first speaker, Kamilla Kirpalani, Montessori Principles world citizen.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this opportunity to share my knowledge on the Montessori system with you. Today I stand before you as a Montessori enthusiast. I have dedicated my life to the study of this method, and I continue to study more about it every day. I am continually struck by the correlation between modern scientific research and in early childhood and the research of Dr. Montessori put into action 112 years ago. I will begin with a brief review of the founder of the method, Dr. Maria Montessori. Dr. Montessori was the first woman to become a physician in Italy. She was drawn to the holistic health of children. Very early in her career, she chose pediatrics. Her main focus became the effects that our surroundings have on children. Eventually, in 1907, she began to implement 10 years of careful research, study, and observation into one amalgamated system. Dr. Montessori drew the information for this initial education system from three sources. One was the observation of the children themselves, their development, what they needed, and then the supply of the solutions. And finally, she watched to see how they grew. She also drew on the brilliant research of those at her time, her contemporaries, and those who came before her. And she also drew heavily on her medical and scientific background. Dr. Montessori died in 1952, leaving a legacy that continues to grow as more of her ideas are implemented in classrooms worldwide. A classic Montessori home or school should comprise of these compulsory elements: a firm and loving belief in the ability and the good intention of all children at all times, the complete focus on introducing the child to as many skills as will empower him or her to live a productive life, a physical environment that facilitates movement and independence, and a diverse and rich curriculum. For the duration of this review of the Montessori system today, I shall refer to the early childhood teacher in the feminine. Please forgive me. And to the child as male. This is only for ease, and I do not mean that the reverse is not completely true. So let's look at the first criteria. A firm and loving belief in the ability and good intentions of all children at all times. All adults who work in a Montessori school must have a belief that children are born good and pure. They must believe that following what the adult is doing, not what they are saying. We are all aware that young children can only truly learn by touching and by watching other people. So children watch us carefully, and that is how they learn. Most of the time, in my experience of 26 years, they're not really listening to you at all. They must believe that children are full of only good intention. They have no other intention except good intention. All Montessorians base their teaching on only one premise, that a child's main aim is to become an adult like you. You, the adult who has achieved the one thing that every human being strives for, survival. You are the best example that they have of survival. And in the eyes of the child, you have survived so well. To a child, the most practical way to survive is to examine carefully the behavior of the adults and other children around them, and then follow them, copy them. The method uses this fundamental scientific understanding to teach soft skill acquisition. How to negotiate, how to have empathy, how to help, how to take responsibility, how to make good decisions, how to take a logical, proactive attitude towards obstacles, how to persevere. All these things they learn from us, only through watching us. So if we persevere, then they will persevere. If we show good manners at all times, they will have. If they see us reading and writing with a pencil or a pen, they will want to do what? But if they see us only using perhaps only an iPad or a phone, then they will do what? So we want children to learn good manners. We have to make sure we use them unfailingly at all times. If we wish that they should be kind and considerate, then we need to be so too. In short, we continually and strictly show them only what we ourselves know to be correct behavior and protocol. Have you noticed that when we slip up, within 5 minutes everyone's doing it? They follow immediately. Dr. Montessori explains that there is a fundamental reason that human babies are born so vulnerable and unable to live independently. A horse is born and within seconds it can run. A giraffe is born and within seconds it can eat leaves. Why are babies born so vulnerable? She teaches that in order for a child to be a contributive member of his community, the child must live in harmony with his community. In the Montessori method, we can only use a very positive form of discipline. The child is introduced daily to morals and values of his community. Within these boundaries, he may make choices. The options available to him are only ones that will enable healthy community living. The repercussions of going against the moral and value framework would result in natural consequences. In the type of discipline that Montessori environments use, there is no punishment or reward, just loving guidance at all times. Let us now look at the second criteria, the complete focus on introducing the child to as many skills as will empower him or her to live a productive life. A huge part of the Montessori classroom, schools, and its grounds are devoted to teaching skills that we ourselves use in everyday life. We used to call them chores, but teaching them how to do their chores. Not many children in this day and age are told to do chores. This was a healthy thing for most of us. It actually made us stronger. Self-dressing skills, self-feeding and cooking skills, grooming and maintenance skills. We teach these skills by demonstrating how they are to be done. We do this on a one-to-one basis. Dr. Montessori believed that physical independence led to intellectual independence. This is in keeping with the observation of many early childhood specialists over the course of history before and after her. In the classroom, the children learn to analyze, problem solve, and learn from everyday situations where their own body goes through the physical steps needed to resolve it. We teach our children how to sweep after themselves, wash the dishes, polish their shelves and desks, tend their garden, and put away their work. Each component of classroom maintenance during the day is carried out by the children with the help of teacher, together as a community, so that cooperation and self-maintenance becomes a habit. In the Montessori classroom, the teacher's main aim is to teach a child accurately how to maintain him and herself in as many ways as possible. The dependence of the Montessori child on the teacher is minimal. In the first term of every year, much support is given to the children. Teacher demonstrates how to wash the face properly, how to use soap in the correct quantities, how to set up work, how to pack it up again, how to put on an apron properly, and so on and so on and so forth. In fact, in a Montessori school, in the first term, the teacher plays a traditional role. In the first term of every scholastic year, time is spent carefully establishing how the environment works and the child's fundamental work in it. We are clear to explain that it is our school, our classroom, not teacher's school or teacher's classroom. Yesterday, I came across a teacher with a young child at drop-off. The child headed for the door of his classroom. As he stepped forward, the contents of his hands fell. Teacher rushed forward, picked up all the items, took the child's bag, and quickly took him indoors. In a Montessori school, this would not happen. The teacher would have verbally reassured the child, guided him towards what to do next, and let him do it, but would not have taken over physically. The child has a body and a brain. They need to use it. Let us look at yet one more criteria: the Montessori system and the physical environment that facilitates movement and independence. In a Montessori classroom, children sit for approximately 10 minutes a day. They are constantly on the move. Dr. Montessori was very specific about the physical environments and its components. Let's go through a few. The environment should be carefully prepared, as if you are about to receive our honorable minister. Every single day, we prepare as such, ready for VVVIP guests. Each element beautiful, everything neat and useful. This is to give the child the habit of living in perfect environments. The role of both teacher and child is to maintain consistently this beauty. Putting items back in their places neatly with all the components intact. Using items with care and without vandalism. Helping to clean and arrange. Preparing items to be used by others after using them. The room is usually pared down to bare practicalities and is very predictable. The children need to be able to know where things go in order to find them and then where to put them back. In a Montessori classroom, there is no clutter and no items that haven't got an educational purpose. There are no toys per se. This would involve clean, clear walls, unadorned by artwork or color. All items in the room are in good order, in complete sets. All items are child-sized and at a height easily reached by the children. The room must be soothing and calm in order not to distract from the child's learning. In a Montessori classroom, there are no raised voices. None at all. Not the teachers, not the children's. Silence, calm, soothing. Montessori classrooms usually contain only the cooling colors of nature. The walls are usually white and bare. Some poster work or friezes would be in a very straight line at the eye level of the child. Some artwork might be there also. If it is there, it needs to be at the eye level of the child. Furnishing and vessels would be wood, cane, weave, or any other natural material. In the school that I have, we use a lot of calabashes everywhere. They're used everywhere, in all forms. Weaved baskets, natural cane baskets, wooden carpentry work that we have. We have the most brilliant artisans here in Ghana. So everything is made out of natural materials. There should be lots of natural light and air. The reliance on air conditioning or closed rooms is not there in a Montessori room. Items should all be accessible to the child. Whatever is in the room is accessible to the child at all times. Shelves and general furnishing is all geared towards the use of the child. In fact, no items which the child cannot touch should be present in a Montessori classroom. In a Montessori classroom, there is no teacher's desk and no teacher's chair. You use the same chairs and tables that the children use. In a classic Montessori classroom, the children mainly work alone. They are encouraged to make decisions on learning, and therefore they must be able to reach the items. The equipment must be ready and neat, and teacher must be clear on how to use them. There are specific sets of Montessori equipment. This equipment is available throughout the day for the child's use. The teacher needs to know exactly how to demonstrate it and what the piece does. Equipment is supposed to teach the child. When a child shows interest in a piece of equipment, the teacher magically appears and shows the child how to use it. The moment the child has understood, the teacher must move away so that the child can work in peace. The Montessori teacher is focused on growing the concentration of her students. This is done through what the Montessorians called freedoms. The child has the right to choose the equipment carefully and to use it carefully and without interruption. Because the child reaches out for it themselves, they automatically concentrate. They are interested. Montessorians believe that concentration grows through interest and non-interruption by adults. These two components are essential. Let us look a little bit at the diverse curriculum of the Montessori school. There are 8 areas of knowledge in a Montessori classroom. I will address each one briefly now. The first one is what we call exercises of practical living, or exercises for what we used to call life skills. Do you remember life skills? Yes, what we used to call life skills in a Montessori school are given to the 15-month-olds to the 7-year-olds. This is usually contained in the form of trays on the classroom shelves. On these trays are opportunities to practice the tasks that we adults take for granted. For example, the use of tongs or tweezers, the ruler or the sewing needle. We teach them everything. We teach them how to sew buttons so that when their button falls off, they can do it by themselves. Yes, with real needles, in case anyone's asking. There will be maybe 6 opportunities, 6 trays or more, that each one caters to the skills that a child of a certain age can use by him or herself. So yes, the needles go to the 4-year-olds, not the 15-month-olds. Once a child has mastered this skill, the teacher must find activities outside of the classroom or projects within the classroom where these abilities can be applied by the child in a practical way. Real-life experiences, not just a lesson. We also teach grace and courtesy actively. The teacher demonstrates the epitome of well-mannered behavior. She treats one and all in the same exact manner that she would like her children to treat other people. She never ever slips up. Never. She also takes the opportunity to teach in situ with gentle guidance and wisdom. This is easier still, as the Montessori classroom is like a village where the children live in a free-moving life. When in a community, many moral issues will arise. Teacher may come across many situations where she must intervene and give advice on peaceful resolution. The teaching of environmental facts and knowledge is very important in a Montessori classroom. At such a young age, the children are taught many general knowledge facts. The life cycle of a frog, for instance, how and why a dam would be built, This serves many purposes. Firstly, by simply remembering facts, children are expanding their capacity to remember. Indeed, as many of these facts are so appealing, the children concentrate, which increases their ability to concentrate. In the world today, conservation and preservation of the world's richness is essential to its survival. The easiest way for our children to want to look after our world is for them to fall in love with it. A huge emphasis on science in the Montessori classrooms. The areas of botany, zoology, physics, and chemistry are all introduced to the children from infancy in a concrete manner and with more and more complexity as they get older. All of us can remember the joy we felt when in the science labs as children. Did anyone go to science lab? Wasn't it fun? Yes. It is just that the Montessori method uses to introduce young children to sciences. The hope is that the children will be enthused to pursue such passions as they grow up. In a Montessori school, there would be a huge emphasis on teaching the children to record their findings on their science, zoology, botany, chemistry, and physics projects. We teach them to observe, manipulate, and take notes. You should see the 6-year-olds taking notes. They are amazing notes. The same applies to geography. In a Montessori classroom, children as young as 3 would know where all the continents and all the oceans are on a flat map. They would know a number of flags from all around the world, and they would also know the shape of some landforms by their features. 3-year-olds. Geography is also taught through the celebration of one's own cultural heritage. First and foremost, always our own cultural heritage first. Then we make every attempt to meet people from other nations and enjoy their heritage also. A Montessori teacher uses everyone around her. She makes friends only to bring them into her classroom. 2 areas of the Montessori classroom that are bound together tightly. One is called the sensorials. These are learning materials that introduce math concepts in their concrete form to explore with the hands and play with. For example, all 3-year-olds would know all the names for geometric solids: spheres, pyramids, cones. Why? Because they've played with them, and teacher just happened to be talking about them. Even the different types of triangle. Does everyone remember learning isosceles, right angle, equilateral? Gosh, I was so bored. But our children are not bored. By the age of 3, 4, they know these words because they are walking around the classroom with one in their hand. See, teacher, isosceles. The Montessori literacy program in the classroom is a complete and systematic program that guides the child through specific steps in these 3 levels that it takes the child from spelling to reading and then writing. So most of us use writing as a base. In the Montessori system, it's the other way around. We spell first, then we read, then we write. The child is never actually asked to write in a Montessori classroom. Never, ever. We have lots of pencils and papers everywhere, and when the child feels he wants to communicate, he will pick up a piece of paper and a pencil. Children go from never writing even a single letter to writing a shopping list for their mama. Or maybe a list to organize their project. Something that is applicable. My love and faith for the system has grown over the years. I have met many who are now in their 20s who were once in my classroom. I am pleased to say they are fine young people, and I have been very honored to know them. I hope I have given you some insight to spark interest in the method today, and that you will go home and research. Thank you.